This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You are watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
So following the recent video that I'd done, in fact it was the last video that I'd done, where ESPN, they said that they have heard for sure that Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury will take place in Saudi Arabia for Undisputed. Now, firstly, until it actually comes from officially Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, Bob Arum, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua and so forth, this is just ESPN. But of course, ESPN, they've got a very, very good relationship with Bob Arum. Now, going on the comment section for that video, a lot of people are okay with it. They're perfectly fine with it, being because at least it's within our time zone. Whereas normally a main event will be around about 10:30 p.m. when the fight happens in Saudi Arabia, much like the Anthony Joshua, Andy Ruiz Jr. rematch, it's a couple of hours earlier. So they're going to be doing a ring walk around about 9 p.m. UK time. So within that perspective, it's okay, because a lot of people understand it didn't really matter where it was in the world. Outside of the United Kingdom, there's a very good chance we weren't allowed to go anyway. So it didn't really matter where it was. But with Saudi Arabia, it's a good time zone for us. If it went to, say, Russia was, say, an option apparently. Again, that's kind of within our time zone. If it went over to America, for example, and let's not rule it out, because as I said before, we don't know until it comes literally from the horse's mouths, that if it was to be in America, then this would be another fight at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. That's not ideal, is it? It's really not ideal. So for me, if it's not going to be in the UK, I don't care where it's going to be, as long as it's within our time zone. I don't want 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning fights. I don't want them. I'll watch them, of course I will, but I'd rather not. And I think a lot of people feel that same way. But of course, a lot of people are unhappy. They're saying that this fight, because it's two Brits, it is a legacy fight. We've never had it before. Two champions coming together where the winner would walk out the ring as undisputed champion. We've never had that on UK soil before. So a lot of people are saying that Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury should have at least looked at that option and done everything that they possibly could to have put this fight on. Now, I know that Eddie Hearn, he recently said that unless the government can guarantee them 100,000 people within Wembley Stadium, then maybe they'll look at it. But the government ain't going to guarantee that, are they? Or you wouldn't have thought so. You never know, right? Maybe all of this is just a ruse and they're going to pull out Wembley Stadium. I mean, that'd be great if it happens. But ultimately, he's always said, even way before the pandemic, it's Eddie Hearn, he's always said that should this fight ever happen, it's unlikely it will be Wembley Stadium due to the amount of money that will be on the table. So long gone are the days where Eddie Hearn saying how Wembley and Anthony Joshua are connected and all the big fights, and this is a way to reward all the British public for their support of Anthony Joshua and British boxing. We get to see an Undisputed. Of course, he was trying to do Undisputed against Wilder at Wembley Stadium. We know that Wilder, he didn't want to do it, and the date that Wilder said, well, maybe we could do it, was only going to be happening in Cardiff in Wales in front of 80,000 people. Either way, he was looking at doing Undisputed here in the UK. But suddenly now, because it's Tyson Fury, there's so much more money on the table because it's two Brits for Undisputed. It's, from a British perspective, it's the ideal situation. So now it's about money. It's not about rewarding the British fans. It's not about anything else. It's about the money. And before people go in on Eddie Hearn and that about it, at the end of the day, look at Tyson Fury. He says he never wants to fight in the UK anyway. So how much of a realistic option was that? If it was a case of that they only presented Wembley Stadium to Tyson Fury, what would he have said? Would he have said, no, I ain't doing it? We don't know. We really don't know. But for me, I don't like the fact that Eddie Hearn is saying things like, well, if we can get 100,000 people at Wembley, then we'll look at it. I mean, are you going to get 100,000 people in Saudi Arabia? Of course you're not. I'm not even too sure if they even have a stadium that could host that amount of people. I'm not even too sure that they could even put 100,000 people in a stadium in Saudi Arabia. So why is it so important for the UK? I mean, ultimately, this is about money. That's exactly what it is. I know some people are unhappy with the fact that it's Saudi Arabia. Ultimately, Fury and Joshua, they're not going to Saudi Arabia to change the political landscape. They're not doing that. They're going out there to have a fight. That's what they're doing. You and me, we ain't going to get to go, it doesn't matter where it was in the world outside the UK. If it turned out to be Russia, if it turned out to be Qatar, if it turned out to be America, wherever. Due to the restrictions, we weren't allowed to go anyway. So I understand the disappointment. I would love nothing more for it to be here in the UK. I don't care how much Fury and Joshua are earning. And I know if they did fight at Wembley Stadium, regardless of how many people the government allow into Wembley Stadium, they're going to be earning career high paydays anyway. But ultimately, what would you do in their situation? Would you take a potential 100 million each, or would you take a potential 50 million each? What would you do? With Wembley being the lowest amount. Because that's probably what it is. I would imagine that Wembley would be the lowest amount. But anyway, it is what it is. I understand people's frustrations, but as I said before, this fight was never going to happen in the UK. As Eddie Hearn made that quite clear. As soon as Fury and Joshua was a realistic option, he quickly went from Undisputed at Wembley Stadium to wherever the biggest money offer is. Of course, we're being used. Of course we have been used. That's not Joshua's fault or anything like that. It's just the landscape of boxing, isn't it? Anyway, that's my thoughts. You drop me yours. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you on the next video.